Welcome to Becoming Better Brothers. And on this episode, I just want to talk about learning from adversity. Um, I feel like that's an important topic, because sometimes whenever we come across misfortunes or difficulties in our life, we kind of look at it as life happening to us instead of for us. So, I remember whenever I was first diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at the age of 21, I believe. I was in my second year in the United States Navy. And whenever that happened to me, it kind of, flipped my world upside down only because my plans were halted um, or, stopped prematurely from what I had set up in my mind. And at the time, it kind of caught me off guard because I hadn't prepared like I should have prepared for anything to happen. So I didn't prepare mentally, emotionally. I didn't prepare financially, and that was 5 years ago, back in 2015. Whenever that misfortune happened to me, so I remember, speaking with my colleagues and before I was diagnosed about me not going on the next deployment, me not, me doing my 4 years and getting out. And then in my second year in the Navy, what happened to me is I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. So, and at the time, I was 21 whenever I first heard the word entrepreneur. And so, because I was on deployment previously, the previous year I was on deployment, and, I started reading books and I came across the word entrepreneur. I really never heard of it. That was my first time at the age of 21. And so during that year, I was diagnosed in 2015, the previous year, 2014, I was becoming more and more interested in becoming an entrepreneur. And once I've kind of heard that word and I kind of figured out what an entrepreneur was, it kind of stuck with me. And so by me latching on to becoming an entrepreneur, I started talking down on my current situation where I was I was in the, I was on the line, a plane captain or whatnot. But during that time, by me being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, that whole world was detached from me. And so looking back at it, I was like, what did I do wrong? I was questioning myself, just questioning the whole diagnostics or diagnosis or whatever, and it kind of had me depressed for the next 3 years. So up until 2018, I was kind of depressed and kind of still in denial of my current situation. And so what happened was probably like at the end of 2018, I started to look back on that experience, and I started to monitor or assess what it was that I was doing, because I didn't want to place the blame on anyone but myself, right? And so by me looking at it like, why this happened to me, why me or whatever. And then I started doing research that, I'm not the only one who was, a young adult or a young man and was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And I won't be the last, unfortunately. But when I look back at that situation, the only thing that I can think of, I should have spoke better. I should have spoke life over my situation instead of saying, hey, look, I'm not going on the next deployment, because the next deployment was like a year out. We were supposed to go on deployment in 2016, and once I would have got off that deployment, I would have been stacked up, financially or whatnot to get ready to get out. But once I was diagnosed, that kind of flipped my whole world upside down. And so once I assessed that situation, I started looking back at what did I do, right? And at the time, I didn't know the power of the word. By me declaring that, hey, look, I'm not going on the next deployment, little did I know, a few months later, I would be diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Now, I'm not gonna lie, like I said, I fell into a depression for like 3 years. And That depression made me mask it in certain areas of my life. I was smoking a lot of weed. I was having a lot of sex. I wasn't feeling good about myself, which means that I was looking at everybody else how I was looking at myself, and I thought that everybody else was looking at me how I looked at myself. And so at the end of 2018, whenever I really got my mind together, I really, started to dissect who I was, really figure out who I am, started to pick up better habits, right? Working out, reading again, having great conversations, and talking about important stuff with substance. So in that story, I learned that, hey, look, maybe life didn't happen to me. Maybe me being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, it happened for me. Because my why, or not my why, but my purpose on earth is much bigger than I can imagine. And that's how I look at the situation now. I look at it as, look, it happened for me in a way. I wasn't supposed to be there, right? I wasn't supposed to be there, right? I remember, like I could remember vividly, like how I felt. I felt bad. I felt like a failure. And so, that's what I want to tell you is, don't look at anything that happened in your life as a failure or a difficulty that's going to last. In the midst of all the misfortune, trust me, there is something you are supposed to learn in that situation, right? I learned that, look, sometimes in life, you get what you ask for. You get what you say, right? I learned in that situation that the power of the mind is real powerful. Because in my mind, I was believing I'm not going on that next deployment because I didn't want to live like that. I just didn't want to be on the deployment. And I was speaking it at the same time. So when I look back at it, I look at it as, hey, look, the power of the mind and the tongue is powerful. And what the Bible says about, life or death is in the power of the tongue, that is real. And so whenever you come across an adversity, I just want you to, to look at it, just accept it, because you can either accept it or you can be miserable. And trust me, being miserable is not where you want to be. So accept it, let that difficulty follow its course. And once it's over, I want you to dissect that situation, pull all the vitamins and minerals that you can out of that situation so you can enrich your mind instead of taking it and letting it rot you. So guys, learn from your difficulties or your misfortunes. In other words, your adversities, and learn something from it. Don't let it hold you back, because I could have been farther along than where I'm at now if I wouldn't have let my dis-ease, affected me mentally. So that's the video, guys. And again, stay true and stay becoming better. Peace.